All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh,
Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone at Ruel. Peace and blessing and much salutation, many salutations to you, elect Akyam, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. Okay, this here today is going to be GMS Dallas class session. Okay, and the topic today is going to be pertaining to Psalms chapter 2, verse 12, when it's written to kiss the Son, lest he be angry. Okay, and through the Spirit, we're going to touch up on, we're going to break it down, and express and explain, in detail through the Spirit on what's being alluded to right here when that statement is made. Because the common average person will look at it and they might think of a literal kiss, or even certain people are somewhat to a degree or manner. They think outside the box and they can understand about submission and loyalty and so forth. But applying that submission and loyalty to the scriptures, and when you read about kissing, that desire, that affection towards something or something, and a lot of people's energy is completely invested in something totally different. You look at the majority of our people, their energy is invested on something completely contrary to Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. That's where that anger and that wrath kicks in, and that's who it's going to touch. Okay, when the Lord visits Israel first. And the men of the Lord are going to be in the spirit of getting acquainted to, wanting to know our power, our source, So we're going to start off on Psalms chapter 2, verse 12. And Lord willing, this class is edifying.
This is Psalm chapter 2, verse 12. It says, "Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little."
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
"Blessed are all they that put their trust in him."
There you go. Okay. And when he started off, as we had quoted earlier, it says, "Kiss the Son, lest he be angry." Okay. Now, I was doing some reading here in this Freeman's edition, Manners and Customs. And when you go into it, it's matter of fact. Well, no, I'm not going to read it, because I got mine right there. But just I'm going to abridge it, because what I'm going into it touches up on it, but it's going to go, of course, in more of a spiritual sense, a spiritual route. Now, there actually is an ancient custom of kissing an individual, like we have what's called the what does Paul consider? You know what I'm saying?
Greet each brother with a holy kiss.
The holy kiss.
I'll get that for you.
Okay. The water.
Yeah, I'll get that.
Brother. Yeah, I'm straight thought.
Let me get that scripture real fast.
Con. But when you go into that originally, it goes into, and we can get that too. But when you go into that originally, when somebody was inaugurated as a king or a high seat in office, you would acknowledge that individual by giving them a kiss. Before we get that in Corinthians, pull that up in 1 Samuel chapter 10. Love the show.
1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 1.
And then you can get that in Corinthians afterwards.
It says, "Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head and kissed him."
Now this is when Saul was inaugurated as being king. Okay, this is the process or procedure that Samuel did. All right, with Saul. Salaki, brother, you got it.
It says, "Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head and kissed him and said, is it not because Yahweh hath anointed thee to be captain over his inheritance?" Right,
because Saul was being risen up pretty much to be king over Israel. But what did Saul do? Saul anointed him with oil, and let's keep this in mind too. He anointed him with oil, and then he kissed him. So ultimately, when you go into a kiss, you know what I'm saying? To kiss is more so an expression of your love and loyalty and dedication toward an individual. Certain people would tend to be loyal and dedicated toward the wrong thing. And at the end of the day, that can hinder your development and your growth spiritually if you are focused and dedicated in the wrong thing. Like the example, you have, you got the crown, and you got the incorruptible crown and the corruptible crown. We're fighting for an incorruptible crown. Okay, the corruptible crown is more toward this flesh and so forth. But you have people like, for example, let's use Kobe Bryant as an example. You know, Kobe Bryant just died, but before he died, he had a legacy of, you know, his work ethic, you know, his time. Like we was talking about it earlier. This guy had a workout regimen called the 666 workout plan. And it's crazy, right? And that's what he actually had. I was having a comment. This brother Tazamont told me earlier, and he pretty much alluded it to, you do 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 months, and he called it the 666 workout. You know, now we do see the results from what he did and his physical ability, but you know, his energy was dedicated towards something completely different. And every time he won a championship, what was the first thing that these guys do? They kiss the trophy. They kiss the trophy. They're dedicated toward these things. And then, you know, like for example, he actually kissed the trophy, man.
Right.
Before we get that in Corinthians, matter of fact, we can hold that in Corinthians before we end it.
Or
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sorry. But the going into the Holy Kiss.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Corinthians, Rome. We can hold that to one of the last precepts because that's more so going to tie in to also to the last scripture.
I had a precept.
Come.
It's really the parable of the 10 pounds.
Okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying? Did you want to get that now? Or did you want to
Nah, go ahead.
All right, this is Luke chapter 19. I'm going to start at verse 11. And I'll just read the parable. Of course, you break it down. It says, and they heard these things. And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable, because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of the Most High should immediately appear. He said, therefore, in Yahushua speaking, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. Now we know that word occupy goes into pretty much to do business.
Right.
To make yourself busy until Yahushua returns. And that 10 pounds is going into the truth, all right? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that was given unto us, right? Verse 14, but the citizens hated him and sent a message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. All right. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, be thou over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. All right, that napkin is like a handkerchief. Here it is. The Lord gave you a pound to go out and trade to gain more pounds, and you just kept the same pound that he gave you, right? Pretty much meaning you wasn't doing anything with the talent that the Lord gave you. You didn't do anything with this truth. You wasn't going out there doing the work, if you will, right?
Right.
Verse 21.
And spiritually, like, invested completely into different energy. No, not tending toward the gospel, which you were commanded to do.
Right.
You know, being slack on your watch. You know, you got it.
Verse 21. We're almost done with it. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll get that word austere.
Yeah, please.
Real quick here. This word austere in Luke 19 and 21. Here we go. Slovakia. Yeah, my damn. There we go. All right, this word austere in the Greek is pronounced austeras. All right.
Strong's G. No, I'm playing.
Austeras.
Austeras.
Strong's G 840. Austeras.
All right. Austeras, right? That word austere in the Greek, austeras, which it says of mind and manners. It says harsh, rough, or rugged.
Rough and rugged, man.
Yeah.
All right, so if you understand that, you know, our Messiah, our big brother, has that spirit on him of rough and rugged, You know, why tempt him and make him angry?
Right.
Shalom, brother.
Kind
Good to see you, man. See you too, bro. My God, I was good. Shalom, brother. Shalom.
Yeah, we record.
Recording. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, just so you brothers know, we ain't going long at all, but we're going into Kiss the Son. Yeah, it's cool. It's all good. We're going into Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and how you know, that's a lifestyle, a way of conduct, how you conduct yourself. You know, so we brought out, of course, Psalms 2, and brought up the example of Saul. When Saul was inaugurated as king, Samuel anointed him with oil, and he kissed him. You know, which showed pretty much an allegiance or dedication towards, you know, loyalty. You know, so go ahead, brother. Now, you're in Matthew, where?
Luke 19:21.
Okay.
It says, "For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow."
Right.
And he saith unto him, Out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down. All right. It says, and reaping that I did not sow. So the Lord, like, look, man, you already know how serious of a man that I am. So if you know that I'm serious about this work getting done, how come you didn't do the work? If you knew I was going to take up where I didn't sow, why did you not go out there and trade? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because remember, like the brother's going into, kiss the son, lest he be angry. To kiss the son is an act of homage or submission to somebody else. And we're submitting ourselves and putting ourselves underneath the yoke of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai.
That's right. If I may, why you have the rest of the world that's kissing something else.
Right.
You know, again, we read, matter of fact, starting with Jake, Hosea chapter 13, start from the top. You know, because if you're not kissing the son, you're kissing something completely contrary to the son, which is the world. You know, and that's what majority of Jake. Okay, that's a majority of Jake that you see, the 2/3. You know what I'm saying? Which, of course, we could say the wicked, but they're even programmed to not be right. You know, which technically the 2/3 is too. But their energy, like Kobe, for example, you know, he kissed that trophy every time he got that championship. You know, and people actually kiss their idols. And that's going to be brought out in Hosea. You even have in the Catholic Church.
Kissing the rose.
You know, they kiss the rose, but they kiss the Pope's ring too.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Every time you stand up there, you know, hold that ring out and they kiss his ring. That goes back to a heathen custom, man. And Jake was doing that shit. Anybody got that in Hosea? Okay, yeah, Hosea chapter 13, verse 1.
Hosea 13
You said
and
you had
1.
a precept? We can bring it out after this.
It says, when Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Israel. But when he offended in Baal, he died.
And, you know, we understand that's going into the northern kingdom. How they was wicked as hell. Which all Jake was wicked, but it's a reason why the northern kingdom got kicked out before the southern kingdom did. Their level of wickedness was on a whole nother level, and the Lord had to get rid of them. Now we look at Jake today over here in the western hemisphere of the planet Earth. They're all under that vibration. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 2. And now they sin more and more, and have made them molten images of their silver, and idols according to their own understanding, all of it the work of the craftsman. They say of them, let the men that sacrifice kiss the calves.
Kiss the calves. You know? Dang. Now, what was Jake doing in the wilderness when you read it in Exodus? They was out there being freaky zeeky with that golden calf out there, playing, partying, BSing. And a lot of, you know, it wasn't even just the calf that was there. Like, when you read that, it was multiple idols that was there. Matter of fact, I'm finding this precept here. Salakia, bro. 1 sec. Because I'm going to pull this up here in Chronicles. Because Jeroboam followed that same way. That was a huge reason why Ephraim fell the way they did. Because Jeroboam really, Solomon kind of did too. He was being wicked. But Jeroboam heavily exceeded Solomon in wickedness toward the northern kingdom. You know, so real quick, I'm going to look this. It's in Chronicles. And I'm going to read this. And I'm going to start from the top. 2 Chronicles 11:1. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he gathered of the house of Judah and Benjamin 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Israel, that he might bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam. But the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Israel and Judah and Benjamin, saying, Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of the Lord and returned from going against Jeroboam. And we understand that they was plotting to fight each other. So the Lord said, don't fight. Because, you can't fight amongst each other. The kingdom divided ain't going to stand.
Yeah, well, if I just may add.
Yeah, come on.
You know what I'm saying? Even with that, that's a spirit, because we actually did a class on this like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, beautiful.
But at that time, Jeroboam was told by the prophet back before that he would have the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
would have the different tribes. So that's why the Most High said, this thing is done of me.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because he already told Jeroboam, like, look, when you read early in the chapter, like, look, these 10 tribes, you're gonna be the king over
Right.
these tribes.
That's right.
It's like, don't fight against your brother, because this has to happen. You see what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful.
What were you in 2 Chronicles?
2 Chronicles 11, now we're at verse 5. It says, And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities for defense in Judah. He even built Bethlehem and Etam and Tekoa and Bethsur and Shokel and Adullam and Gath and Mareshah and Ziph and Adoraim and Lachish and Azekah and Zorah and Ajalon and Hebron, which are in Judah and in Benjamin fenced cities. And he fortified the strongholds and put captains to them and stored victuals and of oil and wine. It says, In every several city he put shields and spears and made them exceedingly strong, having Judah and Benjamin on his side. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel restored to him out of their coasts. Now let me jump down, Salaki, y'all, because there's a part that I'm looking for. There we go. That's it. Yeah. I'm going to just keep reading. We're already close. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him in all their coasts. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possessions and came to Judah and Jerusalem. For Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office of the Lord. So they didn't want those Levites over there. They was like, we're going to get our own priests. Right. Because remember, when Jeroboam got, first thing he did was he constructed a golden calf. You know what I'm saying? That was right there. The first thing he did to pretty much, how can I put it? Pretty much show forth his wickedness. He
created a feast day on the same day as the Feast of Tabernacles.
That's right.
He made his own little feast day on the same, not the same day, but the same month, but on like 15 days afterwards.
God.
You know what I'm saying? He
God.
was wicked, bro.
He was wicked. He was wicked as hell. And as the king, so is the people.
Right.
But it says, for the Levites left their I read that already. Verse 15. And he ordained him priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he made. So he had ordained priests to offer sacrifice to these devils, to these calves. When you go into that word devil right there, that word there is Sha'ayar. When you go into it, Khan, Baba Kashaw.
Khan, I got you. 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 15. That word in the Hebrew for devils is Sha'ayar. It says hairy, but also it says an he-goat, a buck. It says as a sacrificial animal. Satire may refer
Goes back to Pan in Greece, that sex.
Yeah, also Mendez,
Mhm.
like in Leviticus 17.
That's right, brother.
When it says devil, it's actually, look that up, it means goat.
Yep, that's right.
That's really where Baphomet came from.
That's right. That's right. It came from Mendez. That's right, brother. So when you seen with Moses, when he came down from Mount Sinai and he seen Jake doing,
Hey, what the fuck?
they had pentagrams, golden cat. They was getting down and busy in wickedness.
Water chariot right there.
Water chariots right there. Yeah, bro, Moses was up there 40 days, 40 nights, slammed the commandments down, bro, and they broke. He had to have been extremely vexed from seeing some crazy, wicked stuff. And this is the same stuff that the Northern Kingdom got involved in.
Yep.
They was being wicked, bro.
Same stuff going on now.
Same stuff, bro. That's why really, when you put it, we have a compassion on Jake and stuff like that, but we also have to continue to consider why the Lord is doing these things to these people, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have in southern Mexico, man. I learned this out there in LA with them brothers, man. Being around the Northern Kingdom brothers, man. You know, them brothers are beautiful. But out there in southern Mexico, you have this this hub of sorcery called Veracruz. You know, and it's pretty much so wicked that's there. Like in certain hoods you go to, you find the crack dealers, you find these dealers. You got people out there slinging sorcery. And if you want somebody whacked, you go to that person, give them a picture of that person, and they put a hex over it, they do whatever that they do, and that person ends up getting killed. You know, it's crazy out there, but moral of it is that's where a lot of, you know what I'm saying, those were the ways of Jeroboam. When this is something else that I learned. When those conquistadors came to this region of the planet, and through the doctrine of discovery, when you research that, they was pushing, you know, that Catholicism way on to Jake that was here, and also different heathen all over the world. But when they came over here, you did have certain Jakes that was fighting against them, you know, and they didn't just succumb to that doctrine off the muscle. So what those Edomites did was they had actually taken an idol that they was already worshiping there. That image of Mother Mary that you see standing posed down like this, you know what I'm saying? That was already adopted from stuff that they was worshiping over there. That's the Queen of Heaven, you know? And that's what Jeroboam was into. That way of Jeroboam stayed alive. They was doing witchcraft. They was putting hexes on people. You remember when you watch Apocalypto, what was they doing? They would put them on top of that pyramid, cut their heart, bite into it, and do all of that stuff.
They doing
seances, you know? Like, there's a lot of Jake is wicked, man.
Yeah.
And there are people that look just like you, work with you. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah.
You know?
I knew somebody who was into that. His mom was into that.
See what I'm saying?
A lot of get into it with their cousin.
Yup.
They would put basically a hit on.
Yep. Because a lot of people we into like the herbs and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of our people use like the sage and stuff.
On the left
they
hand
burn
too.
it on the left hand side to put a spell or something on something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you have you got a precept?
No, go keep going what you saying, bro.
You have
precept at the
okay.
Well, yeah, I got one.
Con.
I got one at the Yada Keys.
Con. You have Santa Muerte, right? Day of the Dead. You know, when a lot of people look at that and maybe think that's Virgin Mary idol that they worship just in a skeletal form. That's a completely different idol. They're completely different. There's so many different virgins that they all worship that goes back to Satanism, and they're into it. They conjure up spirits with it. You know, a lot of them use that symbol of the Star of Rifram. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them use that, but you know, they put sacrifice, they put hits on people. These are witches, high level. You know, that stuff is real, but just go into it. Those are the ways of Jeroboam. You know, those are the different idols that Jake was into. And when, like, they're dedicated to that stuff. They into it. You know, their attention, their allegiance, you know, their love and passion is toward that on the left-hand side. So you see a reason why the Lord did what he did with Jake. He had to get them away from that area. That's the Holy Land. You know, Jake being holy, they fell into that stuff, and the Lord had to do what he did to us. You know? Who had a precept first?
I had one.
God,
I mean, it's pretty much just backing up what we read in 2nd Chronicles 11, but it's just kind of saying it a different way. This is 2nd Chronicles 13 and 9. It says, have ye not cast out the priests of the Lord, the sons of Aaron, and the Levites have made you priests after the manner of the nations of other lands, so that whosoever cometh to consecrate himself with the young bullock and 7 rams, the same may be a priest of them that are no gods. So that's just backing up what we were reading, you know.
Gone.
Things that our people were doing, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. Real talk.
This is Hosea 5:1. Hear ye this, O priests, and hearken, ye house of Israel, and give ye ear, O house of the king, for judgment is towards you, because ye have been a snare on Mizpah, and a net spread upon Tabor, and the revolters are profound to make slaughter, though I have been a rebuker of them all. And I believe that revolter is something like a hunter, something that catches people. So symbolically, they're catching people's spirit. I know Ephraim and Israel is not hid from me, for now, O Ephraim, thou committest whoredom, and Israel is defiled. They will not frame their doings to turn unto the power, for the spirit of whoredoms is in the midst of them, and they have not known Yahweh.
Like, bro, when you go into what Ephraim's like doing right now, bro, even though all Israel, but when it's like Northern Kingdom, like it's a reason why you see a lot of the Northern Kingdom attracted to the Catholic Church. You know, that idol of Mother Mary, Santa Muerta, all those different, that's there. You know what I'm saying? That's the same stuff that they was following before the conquistadors came.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they into that stuff heavy. It could be that sweet old little Spanish lady that's so nice. That chick is a witch, bro.
Right.
Selling you tamales and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Selling tamale. Hey, mija. You know, sweet old little shriveled up lady that smiles. That's a witch.
That spirit of sorcery and witchcraft is heavy into the Northern Kingdom.
Yeah.
And the scriptures is really highlighting in the Chronicles. It really came. The start was through Jeroboam.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's like Jake. Look at the Southern Kingdom. We know our people wicked too. Southern Kingdom. But Jake over there slapping their hands and stomping their feet and just praying to Jesus on. That's still wicked.
It's high level though.
But it's high level on
all the
on
tribes,
Ephraim.
even the Levites,
Right.
them
too.
They got a level of sorcery and witchcraft within their spirit. But on the Northern tribes,
Yeah. Hey,
that's their thing.
that's right. That's right.
That's why that Catholicism is running rampant, in Central and South America, and also some places here.
That's right.
Really here in the U.S. it's evangelicalism, if I'm saying that correctly.
Evangelical.
Evangelical, yeah. But if you look, into Catholicism, it's basically an amalgamation of all these different deities in one, man.
That's right.
It's Hermetic gods.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Mixed with these the Greek idols all in one.
All back to Babylon, really.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
Catholic means universal.
I was just about to,
Going all the way back to how Nimrod was trying to do during the Tower of Babel.
That's right.
That's right.
When the Lord had to confound the languages, it's all wrapped up. It's
Con.
every philosophy,
All
that
in
you can
one.
think of is all in one. It all really stems what people would call all religions. It all really go back to the Roman Catholic Church.
That's right. That's right, man.
Hey, because if you look up the Queen of Heaven, who has that title? Now.
Mary.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mary. She has the title of Queen of Heaven. So they putting that right in your face.
That's right.
Which is Ilnana, which is Astra, Astar, Semiramis, Isis.
That's right.
That's
right.
They're putting it right in your face.
And Jake is heavy entertained by this. Like it's a reason why the Lord is only going to save a small remnant and the rest of Jake is going to die. Like that's a snare. That's a huge snare that Jake is caught in right now.
Right.
Like bro, when we read this here in Hosea the 3rd, can you read that part again about the kissing?
Go on.
And then you say you got a precept to it.
That's okay. Let's go back to the lesson.
Oh, it's good.
There's a little bit more to He's going back with what you said. Verse 4. They will not frame their doing to turn to their power, for their spirit is of whoredoms is in the midst of them, and they have not known Yahweh. And the pride of Israel doth testify to his face.
Man.
Going back to exactly what the brother said. Hey, they're engulfed in that witchcraft.
Man.
Therefore shall Israel and Ephraim fall in their iniquity. Judah also shall fall with them.
So he even told him, Judah, hey, wasn't nothing different with Judah. Judah's going to follow suit. Judah's going to follow right afterward. When the Lord made that promise that he was going to get Israel out of there and scatter their asses, man, he made that happen. Jake got involved in them snares with those Canaanites, started following their gods, worshiping their idols, and there was a trickle on it. It was just a trickle, really in the wilderness. Soon as they started sacrificing to that golden calf, there was a pattern of that taking place. And the Lord had to always reserve particular men to tell them what they was doing was wrong.
Right.
And it was always a remnant as well. Whenever we was in those dire times where Jake was out of there, it was always many more wicked Jakes than righteous Jakes.
First fruit.
That first fruit. And that's the same spirit, like the average day person, the average day Israelite, I should say, will look at what we're doing and say that we're taking it to the extreme. The Lord isn't this particular. He isn't this way. And that's what the Christian church pretty much has done. No standard, live how you want. God loves everybody. But they don't understand the fear of the Lord and how strict. The scriptures clearly says, kiss the son, lest he be angry. But you look at a lot of Jake, they claim they believe, but they ain't kissing the son. Their energy is completely left. involved in all the wrong things, and not what matters. It's why the Lord is gonna punish in the fashion that He explains He's gonna do. Because Jacob, when we read in Hosea, all that wicked stuff that Jacob was doing, that he was going into the northern kingdom, he said Judah gonna follow right afterward, and they're gonna do the same thing.
Bro, when we read in the scriptures, the Most High said that Judah was gonna be. He pretty much said Judah was gonna be worse than what Israel was doing,
Mm-hmm.
what the northern tribes was doing.
Yeah, well they don't. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna make a point. He had likened Judah pretty much unto Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
You know, like that sister. He was like, you know, in Ezekiel 16, you know, like that sister Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, when Jake was tripping too, man.
I got a precept.
Because if I may add, you know, like what Mike Oliver was going into that universal spirit, that universalism, or that same spirit during the time of Isaiah, that same vibe was being pushed around Jake. You know, you had the Assyrians ruling, so you had people worshiping these different Assyrian gods, and these different kings was coming, you know, and putting up their idols to rule. And with those gods, you had our people being turned to a doctrine that everybody could make it and that all humanity could be saved. And Isaiah was preaching against that. You know, that's why he was looked at as an enemy to Judah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pretty much like, well, we need to bow down to these Assyrians. We just need to pay taxes and tribute to them and go with their God so that we can be good. And Jake was living comfortable at that time. And it's that whole doctrine of everybody can make it. That's not something that's new. That's been around for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I got a quick precept going into Judah. You know, because also what Judah did was they killed Yahushua,
right?
The southern kingdom, and that's the worst taboo that you could have. You know, but this is Jeremiah 17:1. It says, "The sin of Judah is written with the pen of iron and with the point of diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altar." Okay, so the Lord automatically had it sealed for the majority of Jake to be wicked and be into wicked things. He said literally at the end of it, it says, "and upon the horns of your altars." The altar was used to offer sacrifice. You know, so the Lord is pretty much saying, I'm not even going to hear their prayers. I'm not going to hear their repentance. It means nothing. It's already engraved that they was going to be wicked like this. You know, and the Lord has a punishment that's crazy, man. So the majority of these Jakes that you see out here that you walk past, they are through. It's true. It is true. And they could be nice to you. And you know, of course, the Lord is going to reward certain people that reward the prophets, but it's going to be few to none. Like, there's people that are out there that, you know, like Yashwamba always goes into this. There was little kids, old ladies that flooded in that water. The sweetest people that you could know. But their hearts were far from the Lord. You know?
If I may just add on to what you're saying, just to throw this out there as well.
1918.
You know, Jake is through, you know what I'm saying? But even too, just on the truth about it, man, a lot of people that claim to be Israelites is through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like a lot of when the scripture says that the Most High is going to start at the house of the Heavenly Father, He's going to judge His sanctuary first.
Right.
That's talking about Jake that no.
That's talking about Jake.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, those that are in the truth, that know that they're Israelites, but have the correct doctrine and doing everything in sincerity and truth to the best of our ability, yeah, that's who of course that's who the Most High is dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But like, I remember this is something that Mike Ollie said on the chat, man, that's just stuck with me for this past couple of days. It's just like, bro, you know, when Jake be walking up, you know, like yesterday at camp, we had that Jake walk up and kind of pray with you guys and this, that, and the third. He had a zeal, but he just didn't know. He was zealous. He was zealous, like, man, I love what y'all doing. He's like, can I just pray for y'all in the name of Jesus? He started going in, but it made me think, like, Jake sincerely don't know, bro. They don't got it. You know what I'm saying? But they just don't know.
They've been given up to strong delusion.
Yeah, like Jesus is a stronghold, like, that really encapsulates, like, when they kissing that.
That's right. They kissing the golden calf.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Literally.
Yeah. Yup. They kissing the golden calf, bro.
Hey, what's that one scripture says? Few stripes will be given to those who don't know, but many stripes basically
That's in Luke.
given to those who do.
Yeah, To whom much is given. Now, is that the same one? Future.
And while y'all looking, somebody hold 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 18.
Verse 19. I got it. What was that last scripture in Jeremiah you read?
That was Jeremiah 17:1.
1 Kings 19 and 18, it says, "Yet I have left me 7,000."
Start the previous verse. Actually, start about 3 verses prior.
All right, this is 1 Kings 19 and 15. And Yahweh said unto him,
And the hymn is Elijah.
"Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria."
And this actually had happened after, Elijah was on the run. They was trying to kill him. This is after that contest that took place between Ahab and Elijah on whose God was the true God. And after they got put to shame, Elijah slayed those 450 men. And after he had fled, Jezebel wanted him killed. So Elijah was on the run for his life right now. So as he got weak, the Lord came to him. The angel gave him bread and water, and he explained to him in detail what was to take place within the next a series of events that was going to take place later on.
That's the spirit. The angel gave him bread and water.
Yeah.
Only that.
Yeah. That's right. That's very spiritual, and that's what we're eating. That's the spiritual meal we're eating right now. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
It says, verse 16, "And Jehu, the son of Nimshi, shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha, the son of Shaphat of Abel Meholah, shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room.
Right.
And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth from the sword of Jehu shall Elisha slay."
And it was already sealed. That destruction was already sealed for those individuals. It was wicked as hell. Go ahead.
Verse 18, "Yet I have left me 7,000 men in Israel."
Near 7,000 men, and we understand that represents the 144,000, the elect, namely today. You have a very small remnant versus the rest of the world. When I say the world, I'm talking about Jake. A very small remnant that's going to be saved, and they're not going to fall into these snares that's put out here. These snares are heavy, man. Like, this is heavy. It's so attractive to the eye.
All kinds of distractions.
All kinds of distractions. They out here, and it's all witchcraft. And these people that are into that, they're investing their energy into something completely left. They are not kissing the sun. They kissing those idols. And an idol, by the way, could be anything that you invest more time in than the spiritual things.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's unlawful. All right. But if you're investing your time toward these things before putting yourself toward the Lord, that becomes an idol, and you start kissing that idol. And it's dangerous. Very dangerous. Whether it's PlayStation, TV, whether it's your car, your cell phone, the club, whatever it is. And that stuff is attractive to the flesh. Your flesh wants that stuff, man. Best believe these weren't, when they was back there kicking it, bro. Let's say you go to a club today, and a lot of the music that they play is very satanic, which ain't no snare, ain't no enchantment against Jacob, but it's wicked. You look at some of the symbolism that's in the club, and you know what it is when you see it, but it's wicked. And you look at Jake all around, and they dancing, having fun, drinking. In the Matrix. But in the flesh, it's like, man, this shit jamming. But in the spirit, it's like, man, that's the spirit Jake is in right now.
That Bacchus spirit.
That Bacchus spirit.
That God, that's that idol, the God of wine and revelry.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where Akon lived, so it's in Ohio.
Hey, what's crazy though? You mentioned Mendez, right? Going into Pan. Bacchus is Pan's son.
Yep.
Wow.
So alcoholism is so high.
Exactly. And Pan goes back to the goat of Mendez, Baphomet.
So Pan means all too.
That's right.
God,
That's right.
Everything
Pan-African.
Pan-African.
And all of it goes back to Osiris, you know what I'm saying? It goes back to a phallus.
Nimrod, all these other guys.
Osiris gets linked up with Mendez. I did a lesson on it, Lord. I'll send it to you. Osiris is linked up to Mendes. You know, just like Geb.
I ain't never heard of Mendes till today.
Yeah, well, Mendes, that's a Greek name for him. His real Egyptian name is Bame Jadet. That's what it goes back to. You know what I'm saying? But that's what that's what these people are all into, man. That energy. And it's only a small remnant of people that are not in that spirit. And that's why I want that read right there at 1 Kings 19.
It says, 1 King, finish 18. Oh, 19th chapter. It says, 1 Kings 19 and 18. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the needs.
So it was that wicked over Israel. The Lord it was only 7,000 that was preserved that wasn't wicked. Remember, Elijah thought he was by himself.
Yeah,
Jake was gone back then. Jake was gone into Baal, heavy into that energy.
Imagine that, feeling like you're the only
Man.
one that served the Lord left.
That's right. Lonely as hell. You looking at it like it's hopeless.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just me. What can be done? You know, so that was awesome news for Elijah to hear that. You know,
it says, in every mouth which hath not kissed him.
Read that part again about the 7,000 men.
It says, yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him.
So these were the only ones that didn't kiss Baal. You know, they were kissing the sun. You know, because they were in the spirit. And when you read about these men, where were they at? They was in caves, because you remember there was certain men that was giving them water and giving them food while they were in those caves. You know, you look at spiritually that cave, what it represents, refuge. They was being fed bread and water. You know, the same meal that Elijah was fed, and they was good.
They was in that rock.
You know, they was in that rock, exactly. They was in that fortress, and that's like unto us today in a spiritual matter. All right, we're in that fortress. We're eating that bread. We drinking that water. We being covered. Again, that cave represents refuge, and that's what we're in right now. Well, everybody, we was talking about it earlier, how the golden calf right now is a snare. And you liken the golden calf to everything that Jake is completely into. It's a snare, and it's a miracle that we ain't caught up in that. Just like it was a miracle that there was 7,000 individuals that didn't bow down to Baal, you know, and that didn't kiss that idol. This is a miracle right now what the Lord is doing, man. You know?
I got a precept.
Go ahead.
This is Luke chapter 12, verse 45. That's what my collar called. I'll read down to about like verse 48. It says, but if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
That's why self-examination is so important.
Yeah, straight up.
Kind of. Yo, hey, you know that's true. You know, it's our job to go out there and to teach it, man. You know, because at the end of the day, it will be put upon us. You know, like the scriptures talk about in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter. You know, it's going to be blood in our hands if we don't say nothing.
Hey, that's why the Lord had to reserve those men that was going to do it. You know, because it was written and sealed that through those men, those 7,000 men, including Elijah, we have what we have here right now. And we represent those 7,000 men that are taken care of, that aren't involved and invested in that BS. You know? I got a quick precept real quick here in Revelation 7. Revelation 7 and 16. Because again, the point as well that they were in those caves and they was taking refuge. You know? But this is Revelation chapter 7, verse 16. It says, and this is, you know, Yahushua speaking to his elect, pertaining to the elect. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and he shall lead them in the living fountains of water. and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. So the Lord is going to take care of us. You know, the Lord is with his men. Shalom, bro. Yeah, I'm about to strike a thumb. You know, but he's only with those that are spiritually invested in him. If you ain't spiritually invested in the Lord, man, it's, you know, that's the energy that's going completely contrary. And if you ain't spiritually invested in the Lord, you're spiritually invested in something else. You ain't kissing the sun. You kissing whatever idol that is that your flesh can't let go. Now, granted, at the same time, we understand that, you know, we're balanced men. So for the brothers that are listening, you know, namely younger brothers, that doesn't mean that you can't watch a TV show or you can't go somewhere and have a good time. Of course, if it's something that's lawful. But what we're getting at is balancing and making sure that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is the priority. You remember in Haggai, matter of fact, I got to bring this out real quick, y'all. In the book of Haggai, we were building that second temple. Yeah. Baba Kashaw, please. But when we were around that time, over in Babylon, remember Cyrus, there was a decree that was put out that we could actually leave the land of Babylon and go back to Jerusalem. And when you read it in the Josephus, there was millions of Israelites that was in Babylon, that was assimilated into Babylon, that had wealth in Babylon. They was, you know, Babylon was booming. And they took part in that golden cup. But when you read it, it says only around 50,000 Israelites left out of Babylon to build up Jerusalem. You know? And when they built up Jerusalem, they was excited, they was happy. And then right when tribulation hit them real quick, they got very, very, very complacent. Extremely. And the Lord used Haggai as a spiritual alarm clock to kind of wake their asses up. You know? You got it, brother.
Haggai 1:5. Now, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Want me to read up?
Got my concealed houses.
Not 2.
Yeah, come on.
Haggai 1:2. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, saying this people say the time is not come, the time that Yahweh's house should be built.
Because even around that time, it was a 70-year prophecy, but really they came back about 66 years after Jerusalem was destroyed. So in their minds, they like, really, technically, we got 4 years left. Looking ass. When the Lord clearly got you out of Babylon. Go ahead.
Then came the word of Yahweh by Haggai, the prophet, saying, It is time for you, O ye, to dwell in the slave houses?
That's for some, I believe it's sealed.
Sealed houses, in the sealed houses.
So, I mean, there's a whole history when you go into this. You know, because there was multiple times when Jay got discouraged. They started building, they would stop building. And I'm not going to go into the history of it right now for time's sake. But there was a point where they were supposed to build the temple. And right when they first got there, they only built the altar and they built the foundation. And there was years where they stopped. And in the point where they stopped, they started building up their own houses. They was building up their own houses. They like, you know, hey, we need a dwelling place. So they completely neglected the building of the house of the Lord. And they wanted to build up things for their own self and their own flesh. Yeah, it sounds like Judah. Yeah, absolutely. And you think about it even with Solomon. You know, when Solomon prayed to the Lord and received his wisdom and he received the instruction from David to build that house, did Solomon build his house first? Or did he build the temple of the Lord first? He built the temple of the Lord first, and then he built his house afterwards. You know, so just using that as an example, a lot of Jake is in the spirit of building their own house.
Yep.
You know, when you look at
the bag.
That's right.
Yep.
And these ones that when Haggai was speaking to them, these was the elect. You know, they were the remnant, I should say.
Right.
You know, they were the remnant that came out of Babylon.
You could get into that mode.
You could get
Things
into
were
that
going
mode.
well at that time, and then, you know, that's how Jake, they just, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, it means
Chill.
Chilling.
It's as you get older in the truth, you're like, damn, well, shoot, I'm here. I might as well just try to make it, you know, the best way possible.
That's right.
But you gotta
still build.
It's a balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah, you still gotta keep building.
That's right.
That's
right.
Temple.
Yeah, he was challenging them, letting you know, like, look, you need to build my house before you build your house. house.
They just completely just stopped the building.
They completely stopped. Even Zerubbabel and Joshua was chilling.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Haggai was the one that all Jake was chilling.
They were chilling.
For real.
Yes, Haggai was an alarm clock to Jake.
Haggai and Zechariah.
And Zechariah too. Con. Zechariah as well.
And they had, it was like, man, look, you know, because at that time you had persecution, you had the different nations trying to stop it from building,
Right.
they're lying on them, coming up there trying to fight against them. Jay got to a point. Also, Jay got to a point. They thought that the kingdom was coming in.
Yeah, that's
According to
right.
the prophecy, they was thinking in their mind, well, damn, the kingdom about to come, and then when it didn't come, they was like, okay, so when is the
Yeah,
kingdom supposed to be here?
they got complacent as hell.
That's why they talk about that other temple when you read down more, the other temple
Right.
being built. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
They
right.
didn't
Which
know
is-
they was talking about
They was talking about us.
us, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Do history on this particular temple that was built. When they finished it, they kind of started crying because it wasn't
Yep.
as good as
That's
the other
right.
temple.
That's right. The old was crying. They was salty.
Man, they was crying. Look at this.
Yeah, it was like they had probably has a boarded up wall and
Yeah.
some boarded up
It
windows.
was terrible.
Yeah, it was like we through.
Yeah, that's when Herod came in and built the other temple.
That's
That
right.
temple
Yeah.
That was banging.
hard.
That temple was banging.
That one was going hard, but it was destroyed.
Yeah, that temple was lit.
I had to ask a question. Is that the same temple that the apostle or the disciples mentioned when they were like admiring the temple? They were like, "Look at this beautiful temple."
That's it. That's the one Herod
That's
built
when
up.
Herod was building. He was in the midst of it, of building it. But then it was destroyed in 70 AD.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but there was a lot of stuff that happened between that destruction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got a precept, Thomas?
Were you finished, Mario?
Oh, yeah. Keep reading on that actually more, and then we can get to that precept.
Verse 4. It is time for you. Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in the slave? What's that right?
Sealed houses.
Sealed
Sealed
houses.
houses.
And this house laid waste.
And this house lay waste. Bro, we ain't in the kingdom yet.
In the kingdom, yeah.
You know? Now, Apostle Har believes 144,000 are sealed. But that don't mean that there ain't work that needs to be done, because a lot of them are still on YouTube typing Shalom. Beautiful brothers.
Yep.
This, that, and the third. You know, Yahushua said, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. So, Khan, that's right. So there's work to do, man.
Yep. If I can say this too, Yahweh Shah said, "Blessed is the man when I come, shall I find so doing."
That's right.
Being
That's
helping
right.
in some capacity
That's it.
rebuild the third temple, which we know right now is spiritual.
Right. That's right.
You know?
That's right. Beautiful.
Hey, that's why John said, don't think that basically you're special, for he'll have one of these stones cry out.
Mm-hmm.
And symbolically speaking, who are the stones of the new temple?
Us.
We are.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So here he replace you.
Khan, that's right.
Okay, Con, this is Proverbs 7. I'm going to start at verse 4 and jump down to 6 and read down. Saying to wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, or your near kin, right? Verse, jump down to verse, well, I'll just read verse 5. That they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her word.
And that strange woman could be anything, man. It could be anything that you are putting over the work. You know? And again, like the brother said, throughout time, you could even be doing things and not even noticing that you're putting more time toward this than the word. You know, that's why he mentioned that self-examination, which is key. You know, because it could happen to any one of us.
Hey, I got that word lease for you.
Come, okay.
So shamar, to keep, have charge of, to keep, guard, keep, watch, protect, save life, to wait for, to watch for, to observe, to keep, retain, treasure up in memory, right?
He'll keep you from that strange woman, man.
You know what I'm saying? Being settled on your lease, so on your watch, you chilling. You know, now ain't the time to be chilling.
That's
now
real
it's-
talk.
Now it's just, I would say the trumpet is sounded, and it's the trumpet for war.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The trumpet is sounded for what's, you know, you got the different trumpets for the different trumpet sounds for different situations.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so if the man blowing the trumpet blow the wrong horn, he blowing the horn for mirth and it's wartime. You know what I'm saying? How the house gonna stand?
Mm-hmm.
You see?
That's right. That's right.
So yeah. Nine at the time. Was kick the table, pour a Slurpee on the DJ turntable. It's over.
It's over. That's right. That's right. Spiritual party poopers.
Yeah. Unplug all that shit.
Hey, Haggai was a spiritual party pooper, bro.
Yeah.
You know, Jake was chilling. You know, Jake was like, "Damn, he right though." You know what I'm saying? Zechariah too. You know, they were spiritual party poopers. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and sometimes you got to be that spiritual party pooper, man. If Jake, you know, Jake kind of on their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, of course, you know, but you know, like, hey, man, something to work though. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get what it is. You know, and again, it's called it's called exhortation.
Right.
You know.
I got a little more on this.
Come.
Verse 6, it says, Proverbs 7:6, for at the window of my house I looked through my casement, or window, and beheld among the simple ones, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths, a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner. And he went the way to her house in the twilight and the evening, in the black and dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot and subtle of heart. She is proud. Did I pass? Okay, let me keep going. It says, she is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an imputed face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day I have paid my vows.
Wow.
You know, so that doctrine or that philosophy or that woman, if you will, came through and kissed him. And that when you know that kiss happened, he was like, damn, that shit was good.
And she was in an enticing manner. She approached him in a very enticing fashion.
Yeah.
You know, so these cares for this world are going to approach you in those very enticing ways. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be nothing ugly that's gonna attract you. We like nice things, so it's gonna be something that you like, your flesh loves, and it's gonna be there. You know, and that battle in the flesh is gonna be there until your house shot comes back. But our job is to kiss the Son while this stuff is going on, cause it's there puckered up wanting you to kiss her. She there. How many bad chicks really gonna walk up to you and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? No, but best believe. A lot of these philosophies and things you into gonna come like that.
That's why
Satan comes like that, man.
Yeah, it says she was subtle of heart, which means crafty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. These different things that can be distractions, or these different things that you really give your energy to, which you're not really giving your energy to your how about like you need to. It's very crafty because in your mind you could think that, oh well, it's like, you know, like, or you know, I'm saying this because I'm speaking on accounts of myself, you know what I'm saying? Like at nighttime, you could be, you know, I go home and I go to the gym, I may work out, you know what I'm saying? I'm cooking some food, I'm good, I'm getting my body right, you know, then it's late and I'm trying to read before I go to sleep and I fuck around, fall asleep. I'm thinking, well, yeah, I'm here for 15 minutes, I'll try it. And I'm
You feel whack as hell after that.
You whack as hell.
You
like,
feel
you should have
whack.
did that first and then work out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like little examples like that. Like it's just understanding the balance of things, whereas
That's all.
you know, there's going to be other things that you're going to do, but what are you putting in the forefront of your mind first? And Yahweh Shah said, seek ye out first the kingdom of heaven, and then all things shall be added unto you.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of times you feel like you don't have no time, you know, but at the end of the day, we all got 24 hours in a day, but what are you doing within that time?
Exactly.
You know, it's a saying, a wise man knows what, and a wise man, the art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. And overlooking a lot, it takes overlooking a lot. You know what I'm saying? And really just casting other things aside that's not important. You know?
Khan, that's right. That's right. Anybody else got a precept? Khan, we can end it off. That's a spirit. You brought that precept out for real, because going into a strange woman, the harlot. But if somebody could pull up Luke the 7th chapter and start at the 36th verse.
You still want that Greek chapter with the Holy Kiss one as well?
We can get it after this.
Okay,
yeah, we can end it off on that one actually.
Yeah, I still know it's still on
You said Luke what, Nebo?
Luke chapter 7, verse 36.
All right.
Now, this is an example with our Lord and Savior Yahushua, the actual son that we're supposed to kiss. You know? Go ahead, brother.
Luke 7:36. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. And he went into the Pharisee's house.
There was scenarios when Pharisees invited Yahushua to his house because, you know, a lot of times they would try to stir him up, but there were certain Pharisees that wanted to know. You know what I'm saying? Like Nicodemus was a Pharisee, but, you know, he wanted to know. He was definitely acquainted with the Spirit. You know, that was definitely a sheep that heard that voice. But this is another example right here. There was a Pharisee that invited Yahushua into his home, and you think about it, you know, the Pharisees were well off. They were nobles. You know, they were, you know, another word for them are princes. You know what I'm saying? So they was well off. They had nice areas. They had servants, you know, and so forth. It was a dinner that he was having, and he invited Yahushua over there. Go ahead.
It says, and he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner.
It says a sinner right here, but when you research it, you know, we weren't there, so we ain't gonna know 100%, but multiple sources of researching it, it says she was a harlot or a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of that was going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if she was actually a harlot, you know? But she was bold enough. You think about it like this, she's shamed, she's shunned, she's a sinner, and this is a Pharisee we're talking about, his house. Know how strict they were when it came to the critique and the little things. And she's a harlot. So she went to this house uninvited, you know, and came with gifts. Go ahead, brother.
It says, and behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Yahushua sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment.
And she came bearing gifts and oil at that. You remember earlier we read in Samuel the 10th chapter when Saul was inaugurated anointed king. You know, he was poured oil over his head. You know, when David was anointed king, oil was poured on his head. Solomon over in Gihon, oil was poured over his head. You know, now this woman came bearing oil, all right, in an alabaster box. This was precious too. This wasn't just, you know, she probably held it dear to her. You know, what man wouldn't want that woman smelling good? You know, so she probably, you know, put it on, however, whatever it is, but go ahead.
It says, verse 38, and stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears.
Very penitent too, in a very penitent state, understanding that she was a sinner. She was labeled as a sinner. People looked at her as a sinner. You know, she came to the source bearing gifts. You know how the Lord always uses that woman to spiritually represent Israel?
Like Eve going back to Adam.
That's right. That's another good point too. Absolutely. You know, but yeah, that's a great point. But she came weeping and crying. You know.
It makes me think about, you know what I'm saying, you know, for the scene in the Passion of the Christ, the movie, at the end when Yahushua died, he had Mary that came and kissed his feet when he was on the cross.
Right.
Man, I don't, you know, it's not written, you know what I'm saying, but it just made me think about that as well too.
But it was the spirit though while she did that. It's the feet, always the feet. And we know what Paul said, you know, blessed are the feet of those men that preach the gospel and good tidings.
Right.
You know, so whether they physically just went down to, and also too, the feet is the lowest extremity of the body, which is representing your humility.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
You know,
That's important because Paul said he sat at the feet of Gamaliel.
that's right.
Like, just meaning, like, as a humble servant, when he was learning, he came up in the learning stool.
Kind.
Yep.
Beautiful, man. So this woman came approaching Yahushua and bowed down, weeping, mourning, very contrite. Scriptures say the sacrifices of the Most High aren't desired of lambs, sheep, and goats, but the sacrifices that are acceptable unto Him is a contrite heart and a broken spirit. And just as she approached Yahushua in that fashion, that's the fashion that we approach. You know, very penitent, very humble, knowing that, you know, the Lord could whack any single one of us do the stuff that we've done before, and even stuff that you might have done in the truth. You know, so shouldn't nobody have that spirit if they just got it? You know, because Apostle Ramlav's been going into this heavy. The Lord gave you this. Whatever portion he gave you at the end of the day, beautiful, but you still gonna get that penny. It don't matter. We're trying to get out of here. If anybody is the man, Yahushua is the man.
That's it.
You know? And we need to treat him as such. Even looking at yourself in a particular manner is putting your eyes off the sun, and you ain't kissing the sun, but you kissing your own ass. You know? You can look at yourself as an idol. So why it's important to be lowly. You know? Now if the Lord exalts you, does things beautiful, that's cool. You know? But you're supposed to be lowly, man.
Right.
Regardless of whatever it is. You don't know the man that you serving that's under you. You don't know the man that you serving that's over you. Vice versa. You know? None of us don't. Yahushua got it. We got a portion of the Spirit. And that's beautiful. That's enough for us to glory in that the Lord is dealing with us. You know?
That's why, if I may add real quick, just to your point, that's why Yahushua mentioned in John 13 about washing the feet of the disciples. You know what I'm saying? He said, this is the same example that I've done so that you can pretty much take this with you. Because,
Exactly.
you know, with us being in positions, you know, it's a level of servitude.
That's right.
A level of humility. Washing the feet is a very, 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 very low servitude position.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and Yahushua did that.
That's
He
right.
said, and he specifically said, I've done this for an example for what y'all need to do moving forward.
That's right.
Good precept.
Come on.
Luke 22 and 27. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth? It is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth. This is Yahushua speaking.
That's right. Beautiful precept. Beautiful, man. Here, start at the top of that verse where you left off at I9.
Con.
Kashaw, brother.
Verse 38, and stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears,
With her tears. Go ahead.
and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet.
She kissed his feet. She literally kissed the son. And that's the spirit. The woman always represents the elect in a spiritual fashion. When you look at these, a symbolic representation. You know, Psalms 2 says, kiss the son, lest he be angry. You know, and that's the spirit that we in, that we got to be in: humility, humble, bearing gifts. Look at the attributes she's shown. You know, she was bold, she was humble, she was penitent, and then she bore gifts. She bore gifts, you know, which sounds like what Yahushua commanded us to do. The two commandments: love the Most High with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. You know, the Lord loves a contrite spirit, a broken spirit. He loves a lowly spirit. And also, too, the Lord loves a giver. You know, charity covers the multitude of sins. Go ahead, bro.
It says, and anointed them with the ointment. Verse 39, now when the Pharisee which
She invested her oil back into him. You know, invested that oil right back into the source. Go ahead, bro.
It says, now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him.
So now he's having doubts in his mind, and he's kind of challenging Yahushua to a degree. If he was a prophet, you would have known that she was a filthy, low, dirty harlot that has a reputation. Ugh. You know that hoe that you just see around? Yeah, she just going hard and going live at school when you was in high school.
Yeah.
Dottie. And you look at her like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know?
And the Pharisees is big on being clean too.
That's right. That's right.
They wash themselves for anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they wash it up to the elbows.
Yeah.
You know, adding laws on top of laws. They was looking at her like, yuck. You know? Ew, listen. I know, right? Ew. You see crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about now. That don't be a menace, ill.
I watched that nigga elbows dripping, talking about, man, yeah. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. Like, need it.
Don't touch me on steroids.
Man, y'all crazy. But after this Pharisee had expressed to Yahushua, like, you supposed to be a prophet. You supposed to know how nasty this bitch is. You know, not calling a woman, but I'm just saying in their mind.
Right.
That's how they looked at it.
Yeah.
You know? So check out Yahushua's response though.
And he thought in his brain, he was just thinking like,
Right.
he didn't even say it out loud.
Exactly. He already knew. Yahusha already knew. Yep. Mhm. And of course, he probably had that look, probably like that guilty ass look. Like,
Yeah. You know Yahweh let him know that he knew.
oh yeah. Yep. Go ahead, bro.
God.
Y'all crazy, man.
That gift that Jake that be holding that cup looking around. He's like,
Oh yeah, that little fat kid. It says, "This man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner." And Yahushua answering said unto him, "Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee."
And this ain't Simon Peter. You know, Simon was a very common name in Israel. That was the Pharisee's name. You know, go ahead.
And he saith, "Master, say on."
that's crazy. I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Who-
He said the Pharisee thought within himself that Yahweh answered his question, bro.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He knew Yahweh knew what he was thinking. You know?
Right in the middle of his thought, as he was speaking in his head, Yahweh answered his question. You know how wild that is, bro?
Yeah.
But you think to be a prophet, Yahweh over here answered his question.
Exactly. Bro, the Yahweh was cold with it, bro. Ain't that something? The spirit is bad, bro.
You know, he was scared as hell when he was like,
Right.
Like, this is a prophet.
Yahweh said, yeah, nigga, I'm a prophet.
Bro, in the commentary, it says Yahweh interrupts Simon's thoughts. Like, he over here, Simon thinking in his mind, still talking to Yahweh just coming, just interrupts him out loud, just speaks to him.
Yeah.
Like, I have something to say against you because of what you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Simon was talking about, he got this super freak over here. Oh, man. Did right there in the tree, man.
Hey man, like I tell you, man, like the Apostle Elder Gabab said, man, you got to be able to see it, man.
Right. That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
You got to be able to see it.
That late, man. I didn't mean
Oh,
I'm just
goodness
thinking,
gracious.
like,
Nah,
I
you
see
good.
it, like,
That's what got me tripping, because this is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Like,
Yeah, like, what you doing?
yeah.
it says, verse 41, "There was a certain creditor which had two debtors."
Now this is the parable. After he has this thought, Yahweh interrupts him. Yahweh interrupts him with this parable.
The one owed 500 pence and the other 50.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both.
So imagine this, picture it. All this is going on in this guy's mind. He having doubts about Yahweh being a prophet. And Yahweh answered, there was two creditors, you know, and they had two separate debts. So he's explaining, he in teach mode right now, man. You know, but it's a parable. So whether the guy gets it, it's on him. But Yahweh answered in a very subtle fashion. Very subtle way. Yahweh was bad, bro.
Makes
You
me
know.
think like that creditor is Yahweh Shai, and those two letters, the northern and the southern kingdom.
Yeah. Well, that could be a thought of it.
could
You know what I'm
be a
saying?
thought, yeah.
Or just how we all have different debts that we might owe, different portions that we
We were
have.
bought with a price.
We were bought. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But at the end of the day, they were all in debt.
Right.
Both in debt. You know, both owed.
Big ass dick.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It says, "And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both.
The 500 he forgave, and the 50 he forgave it. Go ahead.
Tell me therefore, which of them will love him most?"
Uh huh.
Simon answered and said, "I suppose that he to whom he forgave most."
So did y'all understand what was explained right there?
The 500, when I was in 500, it pretty much, he would, pretty much, more.
Yeah, obviously he's gonna have more of a.
He was
yeah.
deeper in, yeah.
He was deeper in.
Yeah,
You know?
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly.
For real.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's dope. He forgave both of them, but he even asked them. He was like, so he answered his question by saying this parable. He answered that thought in that guy's head about is he a prophet, this, that, and the third. And Yahweh answered it, the question in his mind with this parable. And then he's asking him pretty much out of these two debtors, like y'all explained, he's more than likely gonna forgive the one that has the larger debt more. You know?
He gonna show more gratitude because he like,
Exactly.
damn, you know,
Exactly.
basically gave me a pardon, like a nigga who got a life sentence versus somebody who got 5 years.
Exactly.
You give him that pardon, he'll probably devote his life to you.
That's
man.
right. He gonna appreciate a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
more. Yeah. Go ahead.
It says, "And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged."
Correct. Go ahead.
And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon,
Yahushua is bad, bro.
Seest thou this woman? I entered into thy house. Thou gavest me no water for my feet.
One sec, real quick. That's a custom.
Yeah.
If you a guest going to somebody's house, you supposed to give them water. You supposed to anoint their head. You supposed to do all this stuff. He's a Pharisee. You know, a lot of them were hypocrites.
And you responsible for their life and well-being.
That's right. That's right. And that woman came in there bearing gifts in your house.
Yep.
You know? Go ahead, brother.
It says, Thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears.
So he ain't even give water, but she produced water from her tears. Go ahead.
And wiped them with the hairs of her head.
Mm-hmm. And also too, like hair, like a lot of times, like hair represents like mournings, but when you cut it off, you know what I'm saying? Like wiped his feet with her hair, man. She came in that state of mourning. Go ahead.
It says in verse 45, Thou gavest me no kiss.
No kiss. Remember the scriptures that we're going into, kiss the son, lest he be angry. You know? So he said, you ain't even give me no kiss. And she went above and beyond of the head, anointing the head of the guest, giving him water. She went to his feet with this. You know, the lowest part of the body, the most one that's working, moving around, stink. You know what I'm saying?
I had no socks, so you walking in dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Dirt on you, because that's why he had to wash your feet every
Yeah.
day.
That's why when people came in from that journey, you had a servant. If you had a servant, or if you didn't, you would play that role and you would get that person's feet washed. And this was a Pharisee, so he was a noble. He had status. He had servants. You know what I'm saying? So he, best believe he was more than capable of doing these different things. You know?
It says, But this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased to kiss my feet.
Man, she ain't stopped. You know, she ain't stopped. Because this is one thing to kiss it and then, you know what I'm saying, fake the phone. Remember, Judas kissed Yahushua too. And look what he did. You know, which goes to show you it's not only just the act of the kissing, but it's the action that follows behind it. You know, the sincerity, love is an action word. You know, and she came within that spirit. Now, also too, you know what I'm saying, there's certain instances, even us within the truth, you know what I'm saying, we can tend to look at, you know what I'm saying, people's gifts and portions and what they're doing and see somebody that might not be as productive, whatever the case is, you know. And I know I had to reflect myself on this, you know, but it's like, what are they offering in the spirit? Right. You know what I'm saying? Certain brothers give and offer a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? It's all based on the portion that you have. So you can't be so focused on what is this person doing right here when you should really be looking at, am I doing the most out of the portion that's been given to me? You know,
Beam out your eye.
you got to get that beam out your eye and know, hey, if you got more of a heavier portion to do things, do it, you know. But if that person believes over here and they're showing it, you remember, this makes me think of the woman with her last mite. You know, you had certain people that gave expenses, but this woman only had a mite, but she gave it. And Yahushua said she was justified more than all, you know. So just something to look at spiritually when you're judging things. You know what I'm saying? And again, as I'm talking to myself too, because this is something that myself, I've been examining myself more. You know? Go ahead, brother.
It says, verse 46, My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven.
So, and all of our sins are many. The scriptures even say the sins that we've committed surpass the hairs that we have on our head. And the Lord knows every single last one of them too. You know? Just saying. He knows every single last one. She was forgiven. After she had portrayed that act of humility, and what did she do? She kissed the son. You know? It's a lot that comes. It's a whole package deal that comes with kissing the son. A whole package deal, man, because that shows your affection, your drive, your love, your dedication toward that individual. It ain't just the kiss that's what's holy about it, but it's the intent of the heart, you know. And we know it's not just about works, but at the end of the day, those that are chosen are going to be performing those certain works, and they're going to conduct themselves in a particular way, You know? And that's what that woman did. She was the prime example of kissing the son, because she actually did that in the state that she came in. You know, and again, I said it 2 times earlier, but that woman always represents the elect in some way, form, or fashion when you read about this stuff, you know. And the Lord has very heavy judgment coming to this place, and we know it. We read about it, you know. There's reasons why the scriptures say. Matter of fact, if somebody could pull up Sirach chapter 18, verse 24, Baba Kishore. The time that's coming to this place is ridiculous, man.
Say Sirach 18 or 24.
Yeah, Sirach 18 and 24. Really, you could start at 20 and jump to 24. I think it's where it says, before judgment, examine thyself.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could jump to verse 24 after that.
This is Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. It says, before judgment, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy.
Yeah, we all need mercy. We all have many sins, you know. So why not examine yourself? When you examine yourself, you realize you're still in this flesh. Ain't no need for you to be proud, think of yourself highly, or anything like that, you know. And out of many things, that's, you know, you can examine yourself on maybe you're putting too much time towards something. Remember, we're going into kissing idols earlier. You know, are you kissing idols and don't even know it? Are you entertaining idols and don't even know it? You know?
Was y'all read that about Elijah?
Oh, the 7,000 men?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we read that. Yep.
I'm going to read verse 21 too. It says, humble thyself before thou be sick, and in the time of sin show repentance.
Man, that's the spirit. Humble yourself. That woman was in front of the source. She was in front of the source. She had the opportunity to kiss his feet and give that oil in that alabaster box. It was a golden opportunity. And the Pharisee fumbled the ball, you know, looking at what she doing. And I was like, man, she wiped my feet with her tears, anointed my feet with precious oil, and she kissed my feet. You know, that her sins are forgiven. She came with humility, not with pride. Go ahead.
Verse 22, let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time.
And what did she do? She offered that oil in that alabaster box. She came bearing gifts, you know. The Spirit's been harping on it heavy, bearing gifts, giving what you have and what you can, what's required, you know. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It says, and defer not until death to be justified.
You see what's written about examine yourself, what comes after it. You know, he's actually giving you examples, you know. Go ahead.
Verse 23, before thou prayest, prepare thyself, and be not as one that tempteth the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Think upon the wrath that shall be at the end.
Think upon the wrath that shall be at the end. The Lord is getting ready to bring some heat to this place, man. That's why we don't want to be on the Lord's angry side. That's why it says, kiss the Son, lest he be angry. You know, because you'd rather be involved in that kissing fashion, which represents dedication and putting your energy and love toward this, than entertaining anything else, because that anything else is going to be intertwined with that wrath that the Lord's going to bring. You know, that violence, you know, that anger, that indignation. You know?
Hey, the scripture says jealousy is the rage of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, hey, man, you know, we supposed to be likened unto chaste virgins unto Yahweh Shai. Think about if you seen you doing some BS down here. You know, hey, you get jealous, man. You get jealous power, man.
That's right.
It says, kiss the son, at least he be angry. Any man that has a wife, or, you know, dealing with a woman or anything like that, you ain't think about if you walk in the house and she just walk past you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she don't give you no kiss. She just walk past you and just don't talk. You gonna be mad as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna be angry. You're like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, man, that's the spirit.
And earlier you brought up the precept in Proverbs going into the strange woman, you know, and how Israel, ultimately that represent how Israel played the harlot. You know what I'm saying? We was going into in Hosea 13, how Ephraim and Judah played the harlot, how Jake played the harlot. This was an example of a woman that actually was a sinner. And, you know, when you look at the different commentaries, multiple sources, those commentaries say that she was a prostitute, and they go into different versions, you know what I'm saying, of that, like the Ethiopic version, you know, different versions. You know, it'll say the same thing, but it'll be worded a little different. Certain versions say that she was a harlot and a prostitute, you know, and Jake played the harlot and the prostitute. We all played that at a period. So why be proud, you know? Why not come to him in humility and in that state, knowing you was a partaker within that as well?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 1.
And there's certain times in the flesh where, you might feel good in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? You caught up, hey, the Lord might be doing things for you and you see it. You know what I'm saying? They can make you excited, so it don't mean that you walk around with your bottom lip poked out. Just, the Lord will help his men. There's balance to it. But you want to make sure that you still conduct yourself in a particular fashion while he's blessing. If he's blessing you too, and then you good,
Con, I would say just like Ariella always say, man, when you being wicked, that's when the curses is in full effect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you doing what you're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? Just like the brother going into, man, when you see that the Lord is blessing you, you glorify him more. Mm-hmm. That's how you continue. You know what I'm saying?
That's
how you continue the blessings.
That's right.
You continue to glorify the Lord. The more He show you He'll bless, the more you show Him you'll glorify. Mm-hmm. That's the key. You know what I'm saying? To pleasing the Heavenly Father, man. He want to see you respond to blessings. Mm-hmm. You done already seen us respond to curses. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
And climbing up out of that hole through repentance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And making your body a living sacrifice. All these things that are required to get back. When He see you doing those, it's going to show in your daily life. Right. Even the Lord said it in Matthew 6. You pray in secret, the Lord bless you openly. Mm-hmm.
That's right. It's about expectation. What do you expect? What do you expect in your daily life? What do you expect as we go through? Anytime you make a declaration or a confession for something, resistance is going to come.
Right.
It's the adversary's job to produce resistance in your life. That's the only way you can be proven. Right. When we read about the story of Job, Satan was bringing resistance to see if the integrity was true that was being declared. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing that's going to happen in your life. You just say, I'm gonna do this. Like when you say I'm gonna go on a diet, what's gonna happen when you go to work?
You're gonna see all
they're gonna have pizza, they're gonna have cakes and pies. Immediately resistance is gonna come. Yep. Right? You make a declaration of, I'm gonna be good to my girl. Hoes gonna start calling you. Mm-hmm. So the resistance is gonna come. Whatever declaration you make, you will meet immediate resistance. Right. So that's when your integrity, your expectation through that resistance is what matters. Mm-hmm. Is what the Most High is looking at. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's where the measure comes. Mm-hmm. That's when things can be blessed. The blessing is the mindset. Yep. More than the material.
That was a dope 180 spin you just did, bro. I saw that, bro. You saw that? You came and taught and pumed right on off. Hey, anybody got any more points, any more precepts or anything?
That's what I want to know. Jeremiah 3:1, it says, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she gone from him, and become another man, shall he return again unto her? Or shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith Yahweh. That's the ultimate form of repentance and the ultimate form of mercy, man. Here it is, the law is states that, you commit adultery, you're supposed to be put to death and cast away. Mm-hmm. The Heavenly Father, like, look, you did all this stuff, man, look, return unto me still. Mm-hmm. Return unto me still. And showing that kind of mercy, man, as a woman will be like, would want to be more submissive. So how much more should we be more submissive? As the scripture says of Brute, seek ye Yahweh Shemel Shah 10 times more. That's right. You know what I'm saying? How much more submissive should we be to Yahweh Shemel Shah after all the bullshit and shenanigans that we've done in the world? You know what I'm saying? Going after different gods, not following after the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. How much more should we reverence our husband? Because kissing the feet, like the brother was going into with this whole lesson, kissing the feet, that's a very, very ultimate sign of humility. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
That's all that was it.
Come, I'm gonna end it off just to read this right here. It says, to kiss is an expression of your love and loyalty and dedication to that individual. Certain people tend to be loyal and dedicated toward the wrong thing that will take no part in your development, growth, and relationship toward Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So, hey man, kiss the son, lest he be angry. Kiss the son, show that dedication of love as we've been called to Yahweh Shai. You know? Gonna end it off on that though. Hey, that's class. It is adjourned. Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing and salutations to you elect. Akim kicking this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom.
Shalom.